Welcome everyone to pre-market prep at the close. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin. I was just telling Joel, pretty volatile day on the macro front for the major indices, but just not a lot of individual news out there. We got Powell's testimony this morning. We had a dramatic spike in new cases in Arizona and Florida. Uh, there was the talk of that new coronavirus cure this morning, but nothing really in the way of individual headlines here, Joel. But the market's been up and down all day.
Yeah, Spencer, thanks for having me. To everyone joining us here on At the Close Show. Lot of volatility today, folks. And boy, it's a two-way market. In the pre-market trading, we got to 56 and a quarter. That'd be 31.56 and a quarter. Didn't have anything up there for you. 77.75. Believe it, that was our high 3 days ago. We started to come off before the open, and we were sinking at the open just a little bit. We were battling to go to that pre-market high. And then I don't know if you want to blame it on JP or I tend, when I saw the market drop and then I looked on my Twitter feed, I saw the cases in Florida. Spencer, did we get a little bump up there?
We got a large bump up there. There was almost 2,783 new cases reported today in Florida. That's the most. Arizona is second with 2,392. So whether I'm not one to think that's the reason for the weakness, but then again, who really knows? Uh, those aren't great headlines. I think that probably combined with some stuff that Powell said, though
Exactly.
I'm
Yep.
also not an expert in interpreting what he says, so take that for what it's worth. But
Yeah, if you're good trading those headlines off of off the COVID-19. I actually happened to be long when that happened and was
okay.
quickly exited out of that trade. Participated on the short side a little bit, but lo and behold, it went down to 30.63. So we had almost 100-point drop intraday. And just one thing that I want to note, you guys know that I'm just obsessed with the pre-market highs and lows and the closes. Your close from yesterday was 62. Your overnight low was 60 and a quarter. You got down to 30.63 and then rallied it all the way back. So there'll be a good level looking at tomorrow. Rebounded back into the 3,100 handle. I'll just say overall, I'm not going to make any judgments on the price action from today until today's over. But overall,
Mhm.
the weekly rate, the average daily ranges are sneaking up, and we're getting more volatility, and
Okay.
that's not good. That's not good. What you want to see and what we saw for a long time, we had the average daily ranges when things were crazy. I think one point I got it up to 220, 230. And then the market calmed down. And once those average daily ranges started coming down, I think we even got to around 60 last week at one time. Then that's good. Then the bull can just go pump, 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 pump. But now you have volatility coming back. And unless we can rein in this volatility here and coming into triple witch, I don't know. So I'd like to see us just sit still for a couple days and not have such big ranges. Today's range, if you include the entire session, is nearly 100 points. So if I'm not a VIX guy, I'm an average daily range guy, and I don't like the volatility that's coming into the market
Well,
on this triple witch.
didn't you see what CNBC? I think this was on Friday. They said we're not in a bull market and we're not in a bear market. We're in a kangaroo market.
A
Up and
king.
down, up and down, and up and down, and up and down. Agnes in the YouTube chat was reading my mind. There were two earnings reports after the close today that are of interest to me. One is Oracle, the other is GAN. Let's start with GAN here. They are expected to report EPS of 4 cents on revenue of just over $8 million. This is still a small name, but it's run up hard into the report today.
Okay, just Agnes. I know Agnes came to us from Spotify. Agnes, I just want you to know I'm not a big call the earnings guy, and I have never ever purchased a stock and putting it in my long term portfolio or sold a stock based on one earnings report. just too hard to interpret. So this is their I think their first report is a combined company, not a whole hell of a lot of sports going on. But I'll just look at it from a technical perspective here. You had a pretty good beatdown. Well, you had a great rally. You had a pretty good beatdown. So I think I'll just use those parameters. I like the area of the lows, not from today, but the lows from the other last three sessions. Where were they? Uh, man, they're kind of spread out, but I would use $18 on the downside, and then we're charging towards the high here of 22.99. If in fact you get through this, there's not much up until $26. So I know it's a big range. I'm not sure what to report. I don't know how much gambling that's been going on here since they just came out in April. But more as a longer term hold. I really, for me, from a long term investing standpoint, if I had a chance to pick it up between 17 and 19, call it $18, I would like that area for a lower risk long entry, not chasing it into the bell based on today's earnings reports.
And what about a stock we have not looked at here for a while? Oracle.
Oracle, and Dennis will say it runs up into earnings and then it drops and then it comes all the way back. And I don't know if that's what happened in March. Just stubborn here heading into the report. Got back to your pre-COVID high. That was 55.34. Few days ago, you got the 55.12, 55.06. Today, high 55. Not trading near that area. If they jam it off the headline number and they run it up to like 57, I think that's all 57, 58. That's all fine and dandy. But I don't think I'd be wanting the cat holding the bag if this ran to like the 56 and a quarter and came back down through that area. Just be aware that if you take out the low for today, 53.78, that's your daily low, you're looking at like a $2 drop here to 50, almost a $3 drop here to the pairs lows from Friday and Monday. And then also you have that stinking low at 51.23. So 51 is your super extra major support. And for right now, I'm going to call this recent high the move 55.12, a capper on the upside. But historically, this goes down on earnings. I'm just my memory. It doesn't go down every earnings, but going in my memory bank, it seems like Apple runs up there or Oracle runs up into earnings, gets slammed, consolidates, and then comes back up. So quick take on Oracle. Have no idea how they're going to report.
All right, Joel, I asked for some tickers in the chat, and I got a lot. Before I go to those, do any of the stocks we discussed this morning strike your fancy? Boeing,
Yeah. Yep.
Kohl's, Eli Lilly, any of those strike your fancy? Twilio?
Yeah, I don't know about Twilio, but I will just mention that a couple things. I talked to Triple D after the close, and Boeing, not a great day for Boeing. It's still up $6. I know I gave you that 213 level. I don't know what I was thinking about it getting that high. Open 207.15, and then you were looking good when it went to 208.30. But once it came back down through that open, folks, and we always, for the New York Stocks, we always emphasize that opening price. Anyone that bought that thing on the open, they want it out of the water and fast. It's down to 192.60, still up 6 sticks on the day, but not a good day. Not a good day for Boeing. Just want to mention Triple D. I talked to him, and we were both talking about shorting Lilly. He actually did. He got done on the opening print. We could talk about this more tomorrow. He got done at 156.12, and he saw it at 155, and he was thinking, "Wow, this could be a good one, right?" And he said he turned around, and the next thing he saw was like a 155 and a half print. And his mental stop was the open again at 156.12. So he went to try and get that price. He actually got executed at 156.07, And then you can see what happened now. 167.43. I was looking at some options on this one off the open, maybe some puts, but I'm glad I lay off. And we talked about the news in this one, and you mentioned the insulin, but they had a trio of good news. Did you see that, Spencer? They had something. It wasn't only the insulin; it was something on some overcome study on migraines, and then something on a breast cancer drug. So, I mean, being up 11 points on one drug is one thing, but three different, take a look at that, man. Three different headlines. I will be keeping an eye on Lilly here, maybe for, next couple days. I always see that big old fat gap in there.
Yeah.
But huge day for Lilly. American Airlines was a fade off the open, 1836 open, 1844 high, following your Boeing indicator on that. That
Yeah.
was something that Dennis mentioned. And then the other stock that was asked about, that little is it the Chinese Tesla or something?
Or Neo.
Neo,
Yeah.
yeah. Boom, man, they started trimming at the open. I don't know where it got to in the pre-market, and I said 8 would be a great exit if you could get it. But you had sellers coming to open. Once again, we're talking about that opening print. Where'd you get to in pre-market? No, right in that area. Pre-market, you got to 7. There's where your pre-market high, your intraday high were perfect. So there, another day. Kudos for the intraday resistance. S&Ps are losing 3,100 here. Trying the battle of 3,100. Still looks like it's going to be a fairly green day, but surely not as green as we were before.
All right, let's get to some tickers here thrown out in the chat, and let's start with Slack.
Slack, how's Slack doing? I know people have been trying to pick this one up, and I remember the last time I was talking about leaning on that 30.5 low. Well, if you did that, you got flushed, but it better yet, it made a triple bottom. Boy, this is a technical little stock here, huh?
Yeah, what's that? What's that? A Head and Shoulders? What is that? Well, I mean, there's a huge head.
That's
There's a
like
huge.
a shoulder of like a guy that got his like shoulder chopped off. I
Yeah,
mean,
there's a huge
you
gap
have a
there.
you
So
have a left shoulder. I do see it. Um, Once again, nice bounce. I mean, the nice thing about this thing is if you were trading this, you're buying this 31, 30 hat, 31 and a half, 32, and you got clipped and you actually exited when it broke 30.50. Then you got patience, because there was definitely a buyer stepped in here at 29.60. You can't tell me three lows, 29.68, 29.54, and 29.66. Boom, 3 days in a row. So that area. So I like this one. Maybe I'll keep a little closer eye on this one, a little bit more tame than some of these tech stocks. But once again, back, it had the good support, took it out, undercut and rally, now back above that support. And folks, we got a big number to keep an eye on. 32.60 was your high on June 10th, 32.61 today. So boom. That's a big number going into a tomorrow session. Currently trading 32.33. S&P sticking their head back up above 3,100.
all right, let's keep going in the chat here. William Lay said Nvidia had a nice sell-off from the high, and then they caught a downgrade this morning from Morgan Stanley. We haven't been really paying too close attention to the ratings
Do we even
the
talk
past
about
few
that?
months. But it is notable whenever a firm comes out and makes calls and basically makes a pair trade. And this morning they're saying that we're buying Qualcomm and Lam Research, and we're selling Intel. I hope I got that right. Intel and Nvidia. Those are the two downgrades. I think I got that right.
Yeah, I mean, you want to downgrade that stock? Go right ahead. I mean, it's a beast. Still managed a higher open. Ticked a little bit. I guess if you were focusing on your June 11th low at 370.45, you didn't take much heat when it went to 370.67. And then, I would have been waiting for like 350, 351 to buy this on a dip. No can do. 350, 355 was your low, and now you're trading back up. I mean, I mean, until this thing like breaks, I don't even call it. I give it down to 348. That's been, ooh, boy, a lot of lows after that. I mean, you can downgrade the stock all you want. It's in a massive uptrend, and at least unless the market cracks or they come out with some bad news on something, it's very hard to fight this trend. There's just a wall of support down there.
All right. Joe, Missouri. Not
Joe, Missouri.
not spelled like the state.
Hey, your buddy's in jail now, Spencer.
What? Who's my buddy?
Your buddy's in jail. Joe Exotic.
Yeah, he's been in jail.
Oh, he's been in jail?
Yeah, you got to watch the show. Then you would know.
No, I can't watch that show. That show's too scary for me.
All
I
right.
don't want to watch people getting their arms bit off.
He's been in jail this whole time. All right.
Oh, really?
Anyway,
Okay.
Joe is asking about HUYA
Hoo-yah!
and whether it will stick 19 or 20 by tomorrow or
19 or 20 by tomorrow.
or the end of the week.
Oh, hoo-yah. Gap and go, but you know what the nice thing about this gap is, we talk about, daily highs. Well, look at that. You had a 1780 high from yesterday. You tick 1780, and then so it's not even in a gap here. 1855. You're knocking on the door. You're currently trading 1849. I don't see any levels between here and 2012. But that doesn't mean it's not going to find a seller somewhere else. 1915 was your May 20th close, but $20, that was your high. That was your high on May 20th. So I'd say it has a better chance of getting to 19 than it does 20.
And Chad Gummit is wondering if Costco is due to make yet another run at 320 here.
Costco, does it still have the accordion chart going? Holy mackerel.
Yes, it does.
Oh, God. I can't. Trading range, it pierced the bottom of the trading range a little bit. What had you been holding? You'd been holding 294.54. Didn't even get to you got to 93.84 yesterday. So, man, I think it's got to get through 315 before it gets to 320.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this. You remember how fast this thing came back? I mean, on like March 6th, it was pretty much back to the all-time high. It was like $1 off the all-time high. March 6th.
I mean, are we, they got that bump off the lockdown. Mnuchin said we're not going into another lockdown. I guess they're opening up a zillion stores in China. I mean, 320 to me doesn't look like it's on the radar anytime soon. And if I was trading this shorter term, I'd be happier with, the top of the trading range at 315. So if you're holding the 320 calls, you're going to have to choose. You got to break above 315 first.
All right, one more. This is a stock I looked at potentially buying a few months ago and did not pull the trigger. Raytheon RTX is the new symbol.
Is that the new symbol? Because it got taken over by
they merged with UTX.
Yeah, United Technology. I like the chart. You had the run up. You made a high. You made a post-March high at 74.54. Little pullback with the market. Really love this thing under $63. That's not going to do you any good here because we're trading at 67.63. Poked your head above 70, but I don't like the way we sold off 70 here.
Okay.
June 10th high 70.29. Today's high 70.10. You backed off $2.50 off this. So this one, I don't know if you quite got 50% back on the move, but I just don't like where this is closing in relation to its high of the day.
All right. And if I recall, they've got a nice dividend, which is one of the reasons I was looking at it a few months ago. But
nice dividend? Dividends, yeah. Okay.
I can't remember what the yield was on that, but I recall let's see if I could find it real fast in the pro. I recall liking it. It was one of those names. I was doing some shopping and I was weeding out some names, and I ended up weeding that one out. But
yeah, it looks like it's just digesting. Really came off hard. This actually, and one thing you got to be aware of, Spencer, is this came off hard pre-COVID. So you had that big fall in January for whatever reason. But yeah, getting its way back. Just don't like a close today. But what I do like is the close in the S&P 500 futures ripping into the close here. Well, not well above, but looks like we're due to close here around 31.15. So a good day, a really good day, everything considered. That area up top we'll be looking for 31.56 and a quarter. That was the high I mentioned last Thursday's high. I don't know if you're going to see like the 30-point upper tonight or the 30-point downer, just because you got now you're really starting to jockey here for expiration that's coming up. But overall, good day in the market.
Blair's pointing out the yield on Raytheon is 2.81%, which is better than the average for the industry. But
Better than you're going to get in the bank.
well, that's a low bar. All right. That'll be it for us here. As far as tomorrow's show, we'll be joined by Mish Schneider. As I mentioned this morning, she is the director of trading education and research for Market Gauge. Thanks to everyone who stopped by. Please remember that all the information from this broadcast is meant to be used as informational purposes and not for investing or trading advice. Everyone have a great rest of your Tuesday and be safe and good luck if you're trading after hours.